morning. This is a very exclusive group of worshipers. Good for you to come out in the cold to be here in this day between Christmas and New Year's. I hope your Christmas was happy and peaceful. And I recognize almost everybody. If there's anybody new here, we'd love you to introduce yourselves if that feels right. Or not, it's fine. I see Tatum is here to take care of Raphael. Maybe some people will want to go with you. I think you know there are large print and hearing devices in the back. We have a coffee hour, so there'll be more time to say hello to everybody. And trying to think of what else I'm supposed to, I have to say that the announcements are in here. I have no announcements. I wonder if anybody else does. Mary Blanton was supposed to be the service coordinator, and she always has an announcement, but she wasn't well today, so that's why I'm here. So if there are no announcements, let's do it. Let's sing together. Mary did pick out 3 poems to send me so that I'd have opening words. I chose one by Mary Oliver that I had never seen before, and speak about not studying war. I couldn't help but think that when I finished the poem, that she didn't miss a minute of her life. And she just studied what was in her presence or what she was in the presence of. So it's a lovely poem. It's called Snowy Night. Last night, an owl in the blue dark tossed an indeterminate number of carefully shaped sounds into the world, in which a quarter of a mile away I happened to be standing. I couldn't tell which owl it was, the barred or the great horned ship of air. It was that distant. But anyway, aren't there moments that are better than knowing something and sweeter? Snow was falling, so much like stars filling the dark trees, that one could easily imagine its reason for being was nothing more than prettiness. I suppose if this were someone else's story, they would have insisted on knowing whatever is knowable, would have hurried over the fields to name it, the owl, I mean. But it's my story, this poem of the night, and I just stood there listening and holding out my hands to the soft glitter falling through the air. I love this world, but not for its answers, and I wish good luck to the owl, whatever its name, and I wish great welcome to the snow, whatever its severe and comfortless and beautiful meaning.
Good morning, how are you? You know, it's before COVID happened, before there was a camera here, before I was used to seeing my face, my own face looking back at me when I preached. It was a nice feeling to be able to not have a camera right here, but it's also a beautiful thing that it's here. I was laughing when we first started doing it. I made so many mistakes with the camera. I would get nervous. All of the mistakes that happen in real life, we just forgive. We kind of walk over. But when it's on tape and you can look at it, I just got so nervous. Oh my God. Anyway, it is nice to be together. It is nice to be at the end of 2025. It's nice to be looking at the beginning of 2026. Good morning and good Sunday. I hope that this new day finds you well. Today is Sunday, December the 28th, and the title of this morning's reflection is Reflect, Resolve, Release. It turns on a poem by a woman named Becca Stevens. She wrote, "Keep those wild eyes open. Keep them young and bright." It's good advice. In a few minutes, I'm going to share part of this poem with you to see what you think about it in 3 different ways. I'm going to ask you to fix your final reflections, if you will. I'm going to ask you to solidify your thoughts by writing them down on the white pieces of paper that came out with your orders of service. I want to collect them towards the end of the sermon and towards the end of the reflection, and then I'm going to burn them in the back of the church so we can release them, and then I'm going to take the ashes and wash the ashes into the river without falling into the freezing water. Before we do this, though, I want to talk about the word solidify. I love this word. I borrow it from an artist named Sheryl Crow. She wrote a song entitled Solidify back in 1993. The words are these: pouring in and around the great wellspring of simple feeling, I need bearing in the face of your cool, cool fire. Walking backwards with the pounding of your voice makes my soul tired, and concrete is as concrete doesn't. Voices can drown. Why should I? Why should I? Why should I solidify and make me real so that you can see me? It's a funky tune. Her meaning wasn't clear to me at first, especially the line about concrete. Concrete is as concrete doesn't. Who knows what that means? When I listened further, when I listened more deeply, other things seemed to clarify. She wrote, I guess you thought I'd throw confetti at your parade of lovely thoughts. And I guess you'd thought I'd shine some good morning in some good morning, Jack. Surprise. She was disappointed, and she disappointed someone else at the same time. I think that this poetry tells the story of a woman's growing awareness that her friend or her partner wanted her to be less than she actually was, or wanted her to be more enamored with him than she actually was, wanted her to be different in some way, wanted her to be more contained, more constrained, more predictable. He wanted her to solidify, and she was not into it. She asked, why should I solidify and make me real so that you can see me? Why can't he just accept her for who she is on her own terms? I like this song a lot, but I like it theologically. I like it theologically because I believe that this is what is happening to faith in American public life right now, particularly to Christianity. We have been overly containing faith, overly constraining faith. We've been forcing the great mystery to solidify, and it just won't. It can't. It doesn't want to. What is best in us and what is highest in us wants to keep our wild eyes open. Thank God. Faith will not be tame. Many have tried to tame the great mysteries of life. They've tried for thousands of years, and each time we've resisted, sometimes with love, sometimes with violence, sometimes with revolutionary laughter. And the efforts come in waves, some of the waves that give us our traditions. There's this great skit circulating online right now. It's a group of pagan worshipers who are gathered in a cave. Has anybody seen this? They're all dressed in brown robes. Everyone is wearing brown robes except for one person who's dressed up like a very fancy evergreen tree. And these pagans are gathered in the cave, and they're laughing, and they are dancing, and they are drinking, and they are talking. And then suddenly in bursts an angry Jesus with his entourage of followers. Jesus interrupts the festivities and says, "All right, everybody out. This is my party now," co-opting the winter solstice. The Jesus folks were taking over the show. The pagans resisted, of course. They did not go quietly. They had questions. They needed answers. Of Jesus, they said, "Who are you?" And Mary, one of the followers, answered proudly and right away. She said, "He's the Son of God. That's who he is." And then he was immediately chastised by her son. "Mom." Jesus seemed to fear that his mother's tone might be off-putting. So Jesus answered, but he answered in exactly the same way. He said, "I'm the Son of God. That's who I am, and it's my birthday." "Your birthday was months ago," the pagan leaders responded, hoping that a fact would diffuse the situation. Jesus said, "Well, I changed it," much to the consternation of the pagans. So the pagan leader says, "You can't just take over winter solstice. We've been doing this for thousands of years." And Mary said, "Well, we never got an invite." And the pagan leader says, "Well, I'm sorry, but to replace an ancient tradition just because you weren't invited doesn't make a whole lot of sense." And Jesus immediately made an appeal to his Father, who was obviously listening. God sends down lightning and thunder immediately, and the solstice pagans take heed. They give up the fight, they give up the cave, and they give up the celebration. They surrender and they leave the cave single file. Brown robes filed out first, one by one. The fancy evergreen was the very last to go. "That's right, keep it going," the angry Jesus said. To everyone except for the very last person, the fancy evergreen. He said, "Not you. You're staying. Behold the first Christmas tree." Then an angry Santa Claus and an entourage of elves burst into the cave. They interrupted this scene just as the Jesus folks had a moment before, and they said, "All right, everybody out," meaning that the meaning and the celebration of this time of year has been lost so many times. There's a saying that says, "How quickly righteousness flies from the hands of those who try to wield it." This sentiment is true of faith in more ways than one. We distort the miracle in our efforts to contain it and constrain it. We miss the point, and we ask the cloud of mystery to solidify. Maybe we should just find a way to become more comfortable with the mystery. Maybe we should learn to keep our wild eyes open. Are you ready for the wild eyes of life? How comfortable are you with the mysteries of life? How stable is your heart? How stable is your soul when the earth is quaking and shaking beneath your feet? I love the song by Sheryl Crow. I love its words and its energy, its power. The song is sexy and rebellious and wild, much like faith can be if it keeps its wild eyes open. Wild Eyes Open is a poem by Becca Stevens. I'm going to share the first part of the poem repeatedly in an adaptation of a reflection practice called Lectio Divina. I'll say more about this later, but right now I'm just going to read through the poem, the poem 3 times at 3 different speeds. The first time I'm going to ask you to let the words wash over you gently. Whatever words or images or parts of the poem catch your attention, please pay attention to that. Allow yourself to not know what they mean exactly. Allow yourself to walk into the mystery. Don't solidify. Let these words take you on a journey that has no predetermined destination. Wander into the winter wilderness of your own thoughts for a while. And after a short time of reflection, I will read through the passage again. The words will be more familiar to you, but the meaning may change or may deepen. The meaning may change if you understand the words or the images or the poetry in a different way. And the meaning may deepen if you receive the poetry in the same way, but you have changed in the few short moments between the first reading and the second. Please pay attention to these changes. They are telling you who you are. After another short reflection, I will read through the passage one last time. What does this poem mean to you now? Where has this journey taken you? Have you resisted the journey, resisted its changes, its processes, somehow? Ask these questions of yourself without judgment. Ask these questions without pride. Ask only with the soul's curiosity to learn what it does not yet know, or to remember that which it has forgotten. I'm going to share the first part of the poem repeatedly. Let the words wash over you. See if something catches your attention. Mama is sleeping in the chapel on the hill. It's the house she couldn't leave and the story that I cannot tell. And a bat lives in the steeple, just below the bell, hiding from the people who cry out, "Why me?" Keep those wild eyes open. Keep them young and bright. The neighbors brought her flowers when the garden went to seed, and the bell rang out for hours when it came time for her to leave. And she left us like a lion, and she died just like a lamb. And if it weren't for all her crying, I'd rewind just to say goodbye again. And she loved my baby girl just like the summer loves a storm. And she said, "You are an old soul that I've known since the very day that you were born. So tell me all your secrets. You just came from where I'm going. Who are you? Are you a little piece of God? Come down for me to hold? Are you a little piece of God?" Mama is sleeping in the chapel on the hill. It's the house she couldn't leave and the story that I can't tell. And a bat lives in the steeple just below the bell, hiding from the people who cry out, "Why me?" Oh, keep those wild eyes open. Keep them young and bright. The neighbors brought her flowers when the garden went to seed, and the bell rang out for hours when it came time for her to leave. And she left us like a lion, and she died just like a lamb, and if it weren't for all her crying, I'd rewind just to say goodbye again. And she loved my baby girl just like the summer loves a storm, and she said, "You're an old soul that I've known since the very day that you were born, so tell me all your secrets. You just came from where I'm going. Who are you? Are you a little piece of God? Come down for me to hold? Are you a little piece of God?" Reading through a final time, where will you go on this journey? Will you resist it somehow, resist its meaning, resist its changes? Mama is sleeping in the chapel on the hill. It's the house that she couldn't leave, and the story that I can't tell. And a bat lives in the steeple just below the bell, hiding from the people who cry out, whiny. Keep those wild eyes open. Keep them young and bright. The neighbors brought her flowers when the garden went to seed, and the bell rang out for hours when it came time for her to leave. And she left us like a lion, and she died just like a lamb. And if it weren't for all her crying, I'd rewind just to say goodbye again. And she loved my baby girl just like the summer loves a storm. She said, "You are an old soul that I've known since the very day that you were born. So tell me all of your secrets. You just came from where I'm going. Who are you? Are you a little piece of God come down for me to hold? Are you a little piece of God?" Take a moment, will you, and write down on the white piece of paper that came with the order of service, the one that says reflect, resolve, release. Write down what you can release, what you learned from this poem, but what you can let go of as we move from 2025 into 2026. The melody is simple. It goes, hands open today. Breathe in, breathe out. Can we try that? Hands open today. Breathe in, breathe out. Hands joined as if to pray. Breathe in, breathe out. Arms reaching to the sky, then circling around, down to the earth. Eyes lifted to the light, to the light. Hands, branches catching rain. Breathe in, breathe out. Then rising like a stalk of grain. Breathe in, breathe out. Arms reaching to the sky, then circling around, down to the earth. Eyes lifted to the light, to the light. Hands open to the day. Breathe in, breathe out. Hands joined as if to pray. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Imagine a fire in the distance, a beautiful raging fire. And imagine that we are 15 years old and we are at camp. We are at summer camp for 3 weeks, and it's the last day of summer camp. And we have 2 pieces of paper, and one piece of paper we're going to keep with us, and we say we take from the spirit fire love, joy, justice, peace, friendship. And we give to the spirit fire, we release that which we're no longer going to hang on to after this year passes. Let ourselves resolve and release that which we need to let go of in order to move into this new year, new year of strength and new possibility with faith and power and wisdom and patience and courage. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen.